Okay. Bolt of Kona white. Yeah.
Did you pre-wash it to take the sizing off before you started painting, or before you started coloring?
Yeah, I did. I did pre-wash.
Okay.
If y'all remember at our show a few shows back, there was a guy there that was doing that and using aloe gel to set the paints instead of water. So I felt like they were maybe it made the colors a little more intense when you just use the gel.
Yeah, I messed with that too, and it makes it brighter. But this is a wall hanging, and it's a raw edge quilt, so it's not going to be washed, so it doesn't matter. I'll vacuum it occasionally, but.
Any more questions for Rosie?
Yeah, that is a interesting dilemma, because if you did use Inktense, is there any way to make them permanent so they don't bleed if you, God forbid, got water on it?
Supposedly, if you use the aloe gel, it sets it. I don't know.
I think once you heat set it, that they're supposed to be permanent.
Okay.
Ah, okay.
All right. Well, thank you, like I said, to Rosie for being very gracious and saying yes when we asked her to be the first video. So, and then next is Judy Caputi.
I have a little.
Oh, go ahead, Rosie. You meant to.
Oh,
okay.
I was going to say, I just discovered something kind of interesting to me. Is I'm doing a whole cloth quilt line for my sister. And so it's one of those giant flowers. It's called the Dream something by Hoffman. It's, oops. You've seen those great big flowers, and people do the quilting in between. Well, I took, you know, the wrapping paper that you use for Easter baskets, that clear plastic, comes in colors, but I got some clear, and I laid it over the whole thing, and now I can draw right on the fabric, on top of the fabric with this wrapping paper, and see what I'm doing. And it's just great. I'm just loving it.
That's great.
Anyway.
So you're volunteering for another video, is that it?
I hope you're videoing that, Rosie, because that sounds fascinating.
See?
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Oh, yeah.
Huh.
So on the horizon, stay tuned.
Oh, really? Keep experimenting, Rosie.
Yes, yes. Okay. So, is that all for Rosie? Okay, so next is Judy Caputi, and I really don't know her history. I mean, I know she's been in the guild a long time and she's wonderful. The personal story for me is that I joined and, you know, went to workshops and things, and everybody kept talking about, oh, you know, free motion quilting, you know, you pedal to the metal, or what is, anyway, you floor it, you go. And it made me a nervous wreck. And Judy was the one who said, you know what, you can slow motion slowly, Sharon. See, you can do it like this. And I still do not go really fast. And I think she saved my sanity. I probably would have quit quilting way back because I'm just not super fast. I move slower, and I'm not great. I just do it, you know, I enjoy it. I do my little thing. And I wish she was on tonight to hear that I really, you know, I'm probably still quilting because of her, you know, being so sweet and going, okay, you don't, you can slow down, you can do it at your own speed. And you know, she's a wonderful person. So I'm gonna hand it over to Frances. Frances did these two videos, you can tell, because she's at the beginning. And I was scheduled to tape a couple of people and had to go into isolation. So I'm hoping that next week I will get back into business and have some things working up so that Frances can do her job for a little while and work on those
That's
taxes.
important.
If you have something that you would like to have taped, I'm willing to try to come around. Or if you have an idea, you can send it to us and let me know who you want to volunteer. Which is how we got Rosie. Somebody said, Rosie did blah, 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 and we asked her. So you can volunteer somebody. All right, back to Frances, sorry.
On Judy. Okay. This video, there's portions of it that are a little out of focus. I apologize for that. That's complete user error, but I wasn't going to go back and make her do the whole thing again. So if you're looking on your phone or iPad, you'll probably be fine. If you don't have it blown up full screen, you may see that it's a little out of focus. So let's get that up, and here we go.
Hey guys, back in December, I had the great pleasure of being able to spend some time with Judy Caputi and talk to her about quilts and the things that she likes about them and about her life now. And as very typical for Judy, she started out talking about things that she's given away and the fact that she loves spreading love in that way. So let's join her as she talks.
We had to pay it forward because the year before, there was two girls that came from out west someplace, and they sang a song, a parody. And we happened to see them in the hallway, and we stopped them and told them how much we enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. And they said, "Oh, can we give you something?" And they gave each one of us a little wall hanging. Now, mine's not hanging in here now, and I don't know where I put it. Mm-hmm. And I says, "We're going to have to pay this forward next year." So Shirley made tissue holders, and I made wallets.
That's a cute idea.
We had the best time. Ran into this lady in Hancock's, and I had to have her reel off about 8 or 10 yards of this one fabric I wanted. Mm-hmm. And she gets done unrolling it and measuring it up, and then handed it to me, and she says, "Thank you very much." And I says, "And thank you." And I says, "And here's a gift for you." I thought she was going to cry. She says, "Why, this is the sweetest thing anybody's ever done for me." I says, "Oh, you've probably had..." "No, I work just at Quilt Week." Mm-hmm. And she says, "This is wonderful."
That's sweet. So why do you like to give stuff to people? I mean, I've got crocheted stockings on my Christmas tree, and my kids have them on my Christmas tree. Why do you like doing that?
I don't know.
Just making people happy?
It's just something that I've always done. Mm-hmm. You know, my mom would make Christmas cookies and give them away. I do the same thing. Mm-hmm. I don't make Christmas cookies. I just do regular ones. And yesterday at church, I gave away 9, 10 bags of cookies. And everybody smiles. It puts a smile on people's face when you do that. And at Christmas time, those little boots are something else.
Oh, those are fun.
I had one lady that used to work at Belk's, and she insisted on getting the first one that I gave out every year. So I would see her the day after Thanksgiving. I was one of them crazy people that go out there at that time. And I gave her her first one, and she says, "Oh, I have to have one of these every year. Do you do them all the time?"
Sure.
I says, "Sure."
Why not?
You know, you have fun.
Yeah. Did you grow up being creative? Were you creative as a kid?
No.
No.
I didn't know how to sew a thing. Mm-hmm. I had problems with buttons. And then get married and I didn't quilt until I moved here. Mm. And that was it was in 88. Yeah. 32 years ago is when I started. Okay. And I started down in Madison. Okay. And I went in there and I said, to her, I said, I would like to take quilting lessons if you give them. And she said, fine. She said, yes, we do have lessons. And she says, I have girls that come in and teach. And I said, wonderful. I said, can you set me up? And she says, wait a minute, let me get the phone. And it was Barbara Sanders on the phone. And she said to Barbara Sanders, she says, I have the perfect person for you to teach. She's a blank slate, and her name's Judy Caputi. And I heard Barbara laugh. And then I met Barbara.
Yeah.
And she taught me.
Yeah, that's cool.
And she's the reason I joined the guild.
Okay. I remember the first night you came. You stood up
Yeah.
and you said, my name's Judy Caputi, and you'll never forget it.
They don't.
No, nobody does. My kids don't call you Miss Judy or Miss Caputi. You're Judy Caputi.
I have people that write to me on Facebook. Peggy Barkle, she says, I can't say just Judy.
Yeah.
It's got to be Judy Caputi. And I said, oh, okay.
What other crafts do you do besides quilting? And I know you crochet. What else? Anything?
No, that's basically it.
What do you do with your quilts? I mean, you've made hundreds through the years. What do you do with them?
Well, I have that ladder over there with quilts. I have made, there's a quilt that's a 2-fabric quilt. One year when I went to Maine, I took 15 of them with me. And every single one of my nieces have one. My mother had 3 while she was alive. I made those quillos, and I don't know how many of those I made, but I just give them away. You know, I have sold maybe a couple, but not really. I don't consider myself professional in any way.
What's your favorite type of quilting?
Piecing. I don't like to applique. I don't like to do art quilts. I just like to piece, and I'm a traditionalist, really. I don't like to do fancy, I guess you would say, utility quilts, basically. Ones that you can throw on a bed or on a chair and cuddle under or
They're going to keep
whatever.
you warm.
Yeah. I
Do you
can't
do your own
compete.
quilting?
No.
Quilt by check?
I have some that I've quilted, and I have 2 that I'm still quilting that I've started maybe 25 years ago. One of them's upstairs in a box and one of them's down here, and I plan to finish the one that I have downstairs. The one in the attic is a white on white.
Do you have a favorite quilt that you look back over all the years of quilting and go, oh, I love this quilt?
I like all of them. I think I like the class that I took from Peggy Barkle at Dragonfly. I call it the church window quilt. I think that's my favorite. I like that one. And I like Faye's quilt too. I have a quilt that's called Faye's quilt because as soon as Faye Rawls saw it, she says, will that to me.
So tell us about your new house and your move and how all that's worked out.
Well, it was a case of the house in Hull was too big for me. It was a lot of work, which is fine, but too big. The kids wanted to build a house or buy a house. The one house they wanted to buy, they were doing this with me in mind, being with them, because I don't have anybody else, brothers and sisters, but they're not here.